So you don't think that the bull run in crypto is going to mimic what it had done in the last three halving cycles going in through the rest of 2025 and kind of peaking around September-ish, October-ish. I'm just saying the ish, somewhere around there, just based on past cycles.
Look, Bitcoin's never been in a recession before, so that's our only caution.
And good afternoon, everyone. A December to remember. I got one of our favorite guests here, Bob Kudla. So what are we going to talk about today? Now, you've seen the world get tipped upside down, get retipped, shaken, stirred, and then whatever got poured out of that is the world we're living in right now. You know, you see so many changes happening in almost light speed that are overlapping, and to even keep up with the trends is difficult unless you're on the net 24/7, and still at that point you're not catching all of it. But we're not trying to catch every micro move out there. We're looking at generalities and trends because that's really where it's going to be profitable, is the trend, not the second. So, Bob, I appreciate you joining me. I know we're coming into the holidays here. Hopeful time. Everybody seems a little more relaxed. Now there's going to be a lot of big, good food laying around the tables. That's not so expensive, according to the authors of all these business publications. Inflation's down. Your turkey's only going to cost 75% more than last year versus 100%. Wow. This is going to be a great Thanksgiving. But anyway, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, I mean, look, food's cheaper if you don't eat it.
Oh, it is. You think about daily fasting. That's a great way to move.
Yeah, they're doing it for us, Dave.
They love us. They care about us so much. We're the
They
number one
do. They
priority in
do.
their hearts.
Hey, but what I want to talk about is that the last time we were on, uh, I mentioned with the election, going Trump's way, we would see a market pop, and then we would see a Bitcoin pop, and we got both of those. Now, Bitcoin hit 94, which was our first move, and then 100 psychological, and we pulled back down, and that pull down now uh, took us into a zone, what they call basically a liquidation zones, where there were some late longs. They got taken out, and now I'm looking for Bitcoin now to assault over 100K again here over the next 3 or 4 days, and then when it hits that, it's going to go to 119. So that's the Bitcoin side of the coin. The stock market side is that we should be generally higher the rest of the week. Friday's always a bit of a hit or miss, but then we should drive higher going into the second week, third week of December, and then pull back again. And then in January, we should get our first 2 weeks of good guys. And then I think that's going to be it. And we're going to go into a recession, and the stock market will probably top. And with that, hopefully Bitcoin's between 120 and 170 on a kind of a blow off move. And then we're going to see a pullback and everything. So that's kind of the play here, because there's going to be a lot of uncertainty on how the Trump Doji team and the disruptions that he's going to put into the DC, political sphere, what that's going to do to the economics, the tariffs. So 2025 is going to be probably tumultuous. It's necessary for change, and then we'll just see where it goes from there. But in the meantime, we're trading it, and we're just absolutely killing it. So, in fact, what I want to do is, when we get a chance, I'll show you my screen live here and show you some of these reversal trades that we've been making. And you're talking about macro, but right now, if you're looking at MicroStrategy or Coinbase or any of the Bitcoin proxies, the volatility is so high that you could day trade and make a week or a month's worth of income in a couple hours. And I already put one trade on this morning from essentially MSTX from 100 to 111. I just jumped back in again at 97.79, and I'm looking to target 102, the top of my range. And my algorithm is giving us the buy signal. So when we get a chance, I'll show you where that hit and show you how my target was set. And look, that's another, I have 1,000 shares running. That's another 4,000, be basically a $15,000 day for me, so that's 1.5 months worth of my trading budget that I like to hit. I like to hit between 8 and 10K a month. And so that's going to push me way over the top. So that's where we are. Volatility high, uncertainty coming in February, with after the inauguration, and then you should be hearing a ding here in a minute where like my trade's going to hit for profit as we speak.
Okay, let me run a couple thoughts by you before we jump on the chart here. I had two different questions for you myself here. So you don't think that the bull run in crypto is going to mimic what it had done in the last three halving cycles going in through the rest of 2025 and kind of peaking around September-ish, October-ish? I'm just saying the ish, somewhere around there, just based on past cycles on how many days past the halving before, the pullback and then the ultimate, the peak there. So you don't think that's going to follow the same trajectory then as it has in the last three cycles just because of political unrest that's happening across the country or the world, I should say, but you don't think it's going to follow the same trend as the previous three that a lot of people are banking on?
Look, Bitcoin's never been in a recession before, so that's our only caution. Look, we're going to stay long. Well, let's just stay long. But if we get a blow off move, which is potentially up like the 170, I think you should take profit. We had a measured move for 94 in January. We hit 94 in November. So we think a blow off's probably in play here. The way the MicroStrategy that Saylor's doing is just creating a lot of interest in Bitcoin. And so we may get that 6 months worth of move pushed forward or pushed back into the spring. And then that's where the top is. And I just made that profit. So since I've been on with you, Dave, in the last 7 minutes, it's gone from basically 98 to 102. And so you gotta love algorithms, my friend. You gotta love algorithms.
Gotta love
but
it.
yes, that's where we are with that. And we're getting a push now. Bitcoin's getting a bid now as we're looking at it. So Bitcoin's now up to 94.2. What it needs to do now is clear 98, and then it's all systems go to about 106, and then from 106 to 119. That's kind of our game on this. Some of the alts have been dragging up with it, XRP and Solana and some of the other ones. Once Bitcoin tops, those altcoins are going to get destroyed. So you're going to make sure that you're running your stops up higher. And
so what about the CME gap? This is another one here. I don't know how true it is or not, but they're saying the CME gap around, say, 78K needs to fill. Some people are saying once it fills, then it's going to run to the numbers you're talking about, but it's going to pull back to 78K. It could be one of those like super candle drops and then right back up again. I'm not sure, but that seems to be a thing talked about in circles right now. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, we don't think so.
Okay.
We don't think so. When they couldn't get it down to 84, 87,000 last week, it looks like, remember, these gaps don't all have to fill, and there's just too many people too interested in Bitcoin right now. It just has any available stock is getting grabbed. As soon as anything gets on the market, people are buying it.
Yeah, it's true. So, a bunch of sovereign nations coming in now, a lot of sovereign wealth funds, investment houses, they're going into different kind of ETFs. It does seem like whatever's out there is going to be gobbled, forever now. You're talking about the US starting a bit strategic Bitcoin reserve of 200,000 per year. Like, do the math on that alone just to bring in 1 million Bitcoin. Geez, everything out there on the market for the next years, plural, they said over 5 years at 200K, but still that's like 500 and some plus per day. Like, what kind of demand mark would that put on everything?
Well, look at the Trump administration, whatever that Bitcoin's, strategic reserve, they want to buy 1 million Bitcoin. Okay. 1 million Bitcoin. Well, that's insane, Dave.
That's one fifth
that'll
of the
do
total
the price.
supply.
It'll take us into the thousands on Bitcoin. I'm not a Bitcoin maximalist, rah kind of guy. I'm just simply looking at the math now and sitting there again. I may not be optimistic enough.
Yeah, because I'm wondering at the point where every Satoshi coming on the market is swooped by some entity that has vast, unlimited wealth to throw into it, and if we come to that point where it'll always come back to the market, because people are always going to sell it at a certain point, but those hands there that are in front of you to grab that are going to outnumber you as an individual trader. I don't know if we'll ever go to that, but it seems like with so much interest now from from countries as their own reserves, like you as a person outbidding a country to try to get that same limited supply of something. I don't know where that leaves the average individual trader at that point.
That's why you have to have a little bit of, MicroStrategy or Misty MSTY is paying over 100% dividend distribution now
No, it's not.
annually.
Really?
Yeah, unbelievable.
That's crazy.
It just paid 2 months in a row over $4 dividends each for for a $30 stock and a $40 stock. So it's flying, and we were entering it back. We bought in the low 30s originally, and then we entered again when it got to $18, and now it's pushing up to the high 30s again. Last 2 months it paid $8 in dividends. I suspect November is going to be just as good, in terms of dividend, and December, and then in January they'll do a special dividend because the LLC, which Misty is part of, which is a derivative of MicroStrategy, will pay a special dividend. So these things are just absolutely insane. Coinbase has one called Coney, which is good. We have Ybit, which is a thing that tracks BITO. BITO is paying almost 100% dividend yield too. And then you got the Wolf and the CLSK and all those trades sitting out there too, Dave. So it's really been a Bitcoin festival here since the week before Trump. That's how we knew Trump was going to win the election. Bitcoin really started to move, ahead of the election, and money talks, right? Bullshit walks, and they definitely showed it. An amazing move, which I don't think is gonna end anytime soon, Dave. So we're just gonna have to get a pullback, which we're getting now. And once that pullback, we're gonna rip another 20-25%, and then we're just gonna evaluate again. So, but yeah, these proxies are great. I mean, as an aside, I bought a Toyota Tacoma, paid 67,000 for it, bought it in September. I put half down, and then I financed the rest because I didn't want to use all my cash out of my trading account, that I wanted to take advantage of the Trump bump, and went ahead last week, and I made basically the $37,000 difference last week on trading these instruments, and paid the truck off on last actually Monday. That's how fast you can make a lot of money when these things are moving like this. And now I'm saving for another car for my wife. We'll have two brand new cars, courtesy of the Volatility and our algorithm. So not only can I make you guys money trading, I can make me money trading too. And it's just been spectacular. Like I said, I'm up 15K today just on two trades actually three trades on MSTX, which is the 1.75 on MicroStrategy. And I'm giving these trades out to our subscribers too. So these are trades everybody could take. You just have to size them per your portfolio size.
Yeah, and that's tradewith2030.com. And look at Bob bringing it up. Daddy don't need a new pair of shoes. Daddy need a new SUV. He's bringing it off the level. Oh my gosh. Hey, I opened the screen share if you want to take a look at a couple of your charts there. Yeah, so you're saying everything's going to run higher, and then we're going to get that big pullback because of the uncertainty as the new administration takes hold here coming up. That you don't think there'll be like with the initial pump, because people were so excited that we weren't moving into communism, that we were going to move back into some sort of normal system with common sense. That now you don't think that when they come in with the new excitement of the new administration being able to rip things to shreds and save money and get rid of these worthless departments, that things aren't going to move higher after February? Are we waiting for like signals from that point before it goes, or are you just anticipating it's going to be too chaotic and everything is going to start moving downward?
That's not how the markets work. The markets are going to front run all of that by the end of January.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're expecting a blow off. And then that sell off usually goes February into April. And then we can evaluate whether we're going to make another move. Now, the good news is that if you just look at prior math, 2025 should be a positive year. But, look, these are really unusual times. We've not had a recession, quote unquote, recession in 15 years per the numbers. And we have a change agent running the country. So there's some uncertainties there.
Thank you for the charts. I've been using them too, and for me, taking a look at some of these temporary pullbacks, selling short is something I've been delving into on futures. It's not my main focus, but when you see these pullbacks coming in, if you can scrape a couple of 2, 3, 4, 5%, and you're in and out, I mean, That adds up. That's like putting pennies on a table and nickels on a table, dimes on a table, and before you long, you got a whole jar full of change. You know what I mean? These little
Yep.
pullbacks are awesome. So, looking at something at the end of February or April, if you already anticipate that being the downward trend and you can get ready to position yourself for that, based on past, which one moves down further, faster? What are the laggards on the downtrend after Bitcoin kind of peaks and comes down? So this is my area of research now, putting out spreadsheets up to the Himalaya, trying to figure out this trailing behind Bitcoin, trailing behind the total market cap, first mover, last mover, and in terms of how they decline in value on all this too. So that's where my mind's at
Yep.
because Bob just turned on, my wheels is spinning.
Yeah. So if you see my screen here,
I do. You got it.
so you
Yeah, you got
you
Misty
see
up there.
where you see the yellow candles are. So our algorithm, this is our algorithm right there. This is a representation of our algorithm.
This is the
Is
new
that
one.
yeah, this is a new one. This is a culmination of all our algorithms. We finally this is algorithm 3.0. And so what we did was we created a weighting of all our algorithms because we found out that it performs better than any individual ones. And boy, we've been right. We've been basically went from a 65% win rate to over 70% now.
Wow.
And I'll show that to you guys too. And so it's see trade, take trade. So right here, micro Mystics, which is the 1.75. They say it's 2.0. It's really 1.75. We got the yellow reversal bar. You got the triangles here. You put your trade on and you put a stop in. Now, I just missed getting stopped out by 1 penny because I put it at 94. And then it just took off. And I got hit as we were talking at 102. And right, I had that target on there because it was basically an end of a linear regression line. But look where the reversal thing hit. It hit right there at 103. So I got at 102. The reversal hit at 103. It pulled back, and now we're back into a consolidation mode again. You don't have to only wait for these, but these are the highest probability setups, Dave. So it depends on what time frame you want to play in. Here's Bitcoin. Bitcoin's saying here short term, top on that. But if you pull out to the daily on this, see right here, when it was hitting 100,000, it was telling you danger Will Robinson, danger Will Robinson. See, now it needs to set back up again. And we look for these algorithms here to see them push down. And then right here, it's telling us that this is basically a buy to dip kind of scenario. And if this thing pushes back up into the green, the trend goes back green, you can take your dip buy and run with Bitcoin. So it's a really simple strategy, and the room you got to use to get this one is the VIP room, which is the advanced one on your Trade with Dave.
Yeah,
And so, yeah,
trade2030.com.
guys, I tell you, what you're going to pay for the service, especially since it's Black Friday week, you're not going to get any better deals than this. I already made people in our room, if they followed me the exact sizing, 10 years worth of my service in one morning's worth of effort. So that's how inexpensively we price our service. And this is the kind of returns that we can give you guys. So it's really simple. So I'm looking every day. I just check for my opportunities every day. Here's the Yield Max products. So I look at these every day. Well, that's triples. Yield Max products right here. So I'm scanning on this. Here's the Misty one that we're talking about. So, I mean, look at this thing on move on Misty. So it went down to a low here of $19 or $18. And this is a double. And right here, Dave, this is what I'm talking about. Last month, it paid a dividend of $4.42. The month before that, $4.98. The month before that, $1.85. The month before that, $1.95. So right here is $12 in 4 months on a $34 stock. And this is just been, a money machine. Here's one called QDTE. This thing pays a weekly dividend out. In fact, you don't lose any what they call NAV erosion at all. This looks at daily zero DTE trades, so it's fairly stable. You get the occasional bump down on this, but this thing's been paying out 25 cents, 25 cents, 26 cents, basically $1 a month on a $42 stock. And this is like a 30% return on this. I have my daughter in this. She pays for her rent for her business with QDTE.
Just off the dividends.
It's off the dividend. So she has like $65,000 invested total in this one and another one. And it basically, it pays her federal income tax and it pays her rent on her business. And she's earning about almost $2,000 a month on $65,000 invested. So all kinds of stuff we can help you set up, with your portfolio ratios. You can go long or short on these things. They're kind of amazing. So you have here's Coney. This is the Coinbase long, right? And then here's Fiat. Here's the Coinbase short. So you can operate these things in a ratio to give yourself some protection. And look, even though this is falling down as in price, it's paying out 72 cents. It's paying out $1.50. It's paying out $1.80. It's paying out $1.80. So, you have these in ratio, and then you can keep your portfolio principal relatively balanced. Right now on this one here, we're 70-30, 70 long with Coney, 70 short with Fiat. And so there's all kinds of ways in which you can do this. And just
But you're
really
still pulling the dividend. Excuse me to interrupt, but it doesn't really matter. Just for anybody out there, you're pulling the dividend, whether you're holding it long, short, even if that decreases in price, you're still pulling the dividend as the other's rising. So this offset, Bob's been trying to teach this here, also these offsetting strategies to pull the dividends and then still protect yourself on market moves. But the whole thing is about trying to grab some of these dividends for that steady income that pulls in every single month.
Look, these are rental properties. Okay. You can't get these kind of returns on rental properties, and people say, well, I don't lose money on rental properties. Well, you sure do. You pay taxes, you pay
Oh man.
insurance,
And the nightmare of the renters too.
Renters, you get in the wrong state or wrong city, you can get jammed. COVID people sometimes didn't get their rents for 18 months to 2 years because people were allowed to stay in there and didn't have to pay the rent. So these things, look, and tomorrow, if I don't like any of these, I'm out and I'm in cash. So this is amazing stuff. So here's our return, Dave. So this is over 4 years. So 66.74%. Okay. Annualized gains on these are just our swing trades, 81.9%. But look at these winners. Okay. This is about where I started. We applied the new algorithm, right? When we see this USOY, which is an active trade. Okay. Look how few the losers are on this stuff. It's an incredible algorithm. And you don't have to know anything about trading to trade it. You can start learning while you're earning because we give trades out every day. You get access to the algorithm. And if you buy the service that has the access to the super histogram, you get access to a voice chat room like you and I are talking. Ask any questions you want. But again, take advantage of it by Saturday. If not, the price essentially doubles by then. So you want to take advantage of the generosity of the season, if you will. And I'm going to stop sharing now. Hope people get a sense for that. That's all I do all day long. I just look for these trades. You can set alerts up, the whole 9 yards. So you don't have to even be looking at your screen, and you can get alerted and take a trade.
Yeah. So with that last Excel sheet you had there, so all those holdings, how many of those are paying you dividends? Because I saw your 3-day average hold time there, so you might not be holding for the whole month. So how many of those of a percentage basis are actually pulling dividend for you while you're trading all those?
Yeah, so I only have 4 of those on here. I also give people trades I don't put on here that long-term hold. This is more the swing trade, but USOY pay the dividend. Okay, I have Coney, I have Misty, and I have Ulti, ULTY. So those are the ones that are active on the swing trade. But we own probably like 11 different kinds. So we put people in ratio trades. I don't track the ratio trades because they're designed to not really move from an NAV standpoint. They're designed to drop dividends into your pocket. And so I go over those 2 every month.
Yeah, because you got to think about that. Even if you had 1,000 shares and you're getting a $4 return per month off of that, I mean, and then what if you got 8,000? Then you're making 12,000 a month just on dividends.
I do 16 to 17,000 a month in dividends.
Steady money. That's what it's all about, isn't it?
Yeah, and you can grow into it. I mean, I have my one friend. He has 2 kids. Have been doing this since he's come out. They're 21-year-old kids. Okay, they built up their portfolio because they're reinvesting in dividend up to $50,000 each. How many 21-year-olds have $50,000 of their own money all from work, just by taking these and dripping these in? Okay, You catch a move like MicroStrategy, which Misty's a part of, that's a double. That's a double plus your dividend. So it's almost, for me, it's almost 200% gain. It's an amazing tool, like with my daughter too. How many 23-year-olds don't have to worry about the rent for their business because, they structured their portfolio to take advantage of this. I tell people, look, you need to have a portion of your money in these yield products, a portion defensive and a portion speculative, and you're going to be just fine.
Yeah, because a lot of no, correct me if I'm wrong, the liquidity bandits are out there all the time trying to drive price movers so they can get their liquidity fix. I mean, playing into this, so Trump comes in, he stops the war instantly or tries to, depending on what kind of interference comes in. I mean, how does that reset the whole stage of stability in the markets? Because if the war, the main one that's raging on the planet right now with Ukraine, if this comes to a grinding halt, then how does that reverberate through everything else? Because that's one of the main things people are looking for. Okay, the Doge department efficiency, that's one thing. But to actually stop a full conflict on the other side of the planet that's driving markets right now, what happens when that, I should say, stability comes back in versus this fear factor on kind of a global whole that then pushes, well, we're in global markets anyway, but US market centric.
Yeah, that's why I'm looking at the back half of 2025. So here's the strategy as I understand it. So he's going to go in there and work some sort of deal out with Russia, with Ukraine, and that immediately is going to drop the price of the strategic metals, because there's a premium in those now. He's already working it right now, a deal with Israel and their enemies. And once that happens, oil is going to $40 a barrel. Once that happens, basically Iran and Russia don't make enough money to cause mischief in the world. So he takes that out of the game right away. And then he turns around and he powers tariffs onto China. He takes China and basically destroys their yuan currency. And then he already talked to the president of Mexico and basically said, you fix your border problem with us, or I'm going to tariff you to a position of basically insolvency. So he's going to be able to stop 3 conflicts and sources of issues with the country without going to war by using the economic might of and incentives of the United States. And then on top of that, he's going to then rip out regulation. He's going to do the drill baby drill. He's going to force companies to relocate back into the United States. And then I think, all things working out, you're going to look at probably a nice big increase 2026, 2027 in the U.S. economy. So I'm pretty encouraged, but I don't want to be myopic. We will have some sort of pullback economically in stock market in 2025 for sure. You don't have to worry about shorting everything. There's things you can buy. If energy falls, there are energy stocks that will take advantage of that through expanded services. So, and then the mining companies will do well. I'm not talking about Bitcoin mining. I'm talking about gold and silver. Mm-hmm. Because their biggest expense is energy, Dave. So there's a lot of ways. There's a lot of good guys here, my friend. A lot of good guys.
Yeah, and you're going to want to keep an eye on that as well. So tradewell2030.com and jumping in on the rooms there, getting the signals. It's going to be a great year. A lot of people try to set up in their mind how New Year's resolutions. Well, what's your resolution? Well, I'm going to pay off my house. I'm going to help people who don't have anything that have lost everything in North Carolina and get them out onto the property and provide housing for them. These kind of things. Those are the goals, right? So it could be different for everybody, but if you're going to make the money, then what do you want to do with it? Yeah, I mean, you're not just going to sit it and put it in a closet and let it sit there. And I like to look at it. You have to use it somehow for the betterment of humanity. And that's the whole thing about it is every time I talk to Bob, he's all like, how do you make our world better by helping people after you get this money?
Yeah, look, you pay your debt off first. You can't help people if you're damaged. So pay your debt off first, give yourself a cushion, and then from there, nothing feels better than being able to help your fellow man, your family member, your neighbor, and that just gives everybody more confidence to move forward. Life's about others, not you.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering, as you're putting that vibration out into the ether, for a better term, how that comes and cycles back to you. Because they always talk about frequency fields and thought equals vibration, and then that sort of magnetic effect of those same things. So, what kind of people might start appearing in your life, or opportunities might start appearing just because you're putting a different literal vibration out off of your being. And that's a little woo-woo off the topic here, but still, it sort of spins into it in terms of, using money for something good. Because we've been brought up that money's bad. Rich people are bad. That's generally, if you do a survey in America, 70+% are going to have that same thought, right? But why is that? Why have we always been taught money's bad? Is that because the controllers don't want you to try to tap in and have access to that? Or I just don't get it, why people are so fearful of money and why they think it's such a negative thing to have money. I'm baffled by it. I'm
Well,
still just
money's money.
perplexed.
Money's money. It's what you do with it. So
Hmm.
you don't even have to give it away. If you're investing in your business and you're hiring people, I mean, all this stuff where you're making a better product. There's a reason why South Korea is a first world country and North Korea is a fourth world country. It's the ability to unleash the human ingenuity, and you have to have a profit factor in there. Okay. They view profit as bad, only they want it, the elites, and you end up being a king of the dunghill, as they say. And basically South Korea is 100 years ahead of North Korea right now. Maybe next month we'll talk about China, but China is absolutely going to implode. Everybody's worried about Xi this, Xi that. Xi needs to start worried about Xi because, I mean, you're talking youth unemployment at 60% now, 60%. And
And that's
Trump
people
throws
with
on these,
PhDs and master's degrees, by the way. So don't think it's just somebody who graduated high school and that's it. We're talking about master degree candidates, PhD candidates that are still working in restaurants at like McDonald's
and Uber. Yeah. And then
and
Trump
Uber.
throws on these tariffs. The, the tariffs are going to start making an impact. Remember, this whole thing cycles through because the U.S. sucks in the consumer goods from China. If we stop that engine, it's like the Gulf Stream stopping, right? So everything backs up, and then you get a economic winter in China and in Germany. So it's going to be really interesting to see. And the United States is actually very well positioned for a worldwide depression because we're the debtor nation and we're the debtor trade nation, and we just basically we're going to be able to suck that all back in. England during the Great Depression hardly felt it. In the United States in the next Great Depression will hardly feel it. But if you're China or Germany, and to a lesser extent, Japan and Korea, you're going to feel it because your export markets are going to dry up. So that's it. So, I mean, exciting times. I mean, look, as a trader, you want volatility. We're getting volatility. I think Bitcoin has a big run ahead of it. The stock market probably has another 6 to 10 weeks in it too, and you can make a year's worth of your trading income by the time Trump gets in, and then you can be pickier as to where your targets are until we figure out how his policies are going to affect the stock market and the economic environment. So, you
Tradewith2030.com. Head on over there. Check out the specials Bob's running this month, especially the rooms and the algorithms. Bob, any last words?
Yeah, so if you stumble onto my site, tradelikeagenius.com, absolutely tell me you heard it from Dave so you get the deal. Okay, or you won't get the same deal. And that way I can support his channel here and we can all three of us win. So keep the faith. I think good positive things are happening, but with anything change is uncertainty. And then uncertainty then leads to opportunities. So with that, and I'll catch you on the other side of a turkey day.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Please leave your comments below. I do read them and then ask those questions back to Bob the following month because I know there's a lot of interest in that. So I appreciate everybody's time and energy. And have a great day and an incredible holiday. And we'll see you next time. Bye for now.